Welcome back to another episode of DB Unscripted. I'm your host, Justin Valley-Joe, Communications and Marketing Assistant with the City of Daytona Beach. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, the city's website at daytonabeach.gov/DB Unscripted. So you can stay up to date with all of our episodes. You can pick and choose which ones you want to listen to, but just be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. For today's episode, I have the guy who runs and operates to make sure that the city of Daytona Beach is always running smoothly as far as our public works. So I have our public works director, Mr. David Waller. Thanks for joining the podcast today.
You bet. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So could you give me a quick introduction, just a little bit about yourself, and how did you find yourself working in public works?
For starters, I grew up here in Volusia County from DeLand. And so I spent lots of time in Daytona Beach as a kid and young adult, because if anybody remembers from the area and knows DeLand in the 80s, there was nothing in DeLand, so you had to come here if you wanted to do any sort of recreation or shopping or whatever. Everything happened in Daytona Beach, so I feel like I'm home when I came back to work here. Public Works, it's interesting. Nobody goes to career day and says, I want to work in public works.
You're either a firefighter or a police officer.
Right. We don't have the cool toys and things like that. So, I got a degree in forestry, urban forestry at the University of Florida, and started working as an arborist in the city of Maitland. Because I was in that area at the time, and my career took me from there over to another city in Seminole County, and I wound up in Daytona Beach. Just kind of grew within the profession and within the department. There's a lot of rewarding things that can happen in public works and in public service, and it just seemed to be a good fit.
So what are some of the things that you like to do outside of office? So when you're not David Waller, the public works director, what are you like outside of the office?
I've got 4 kids. My oldest is grown now. He's up in Ocala doing well. Got 3 girls at home. I spend almost all of my time either at horse shows, the horse barn, or soccer fields, softball fields, lacrosse fields, wherever I'm told to be, quite honestly. I enjoy that time with my kids, and that's all I've done for the last 28 years of adulthood is raise kids, and it's been it's rewarding and it's fun.
So I'm assuming your weekends are pretty much jam-packed from wake up to
weekends, weeknights. Yeah, it's
keep things fun.
Yeah, it keeps it fun.
Okay,
yeah.
Very good, awesome. So I want to do a little speed round with you, a little rapid questions.
All right.
If you are able to answer, I think I have 4 or 5 questions. If you're able to answer every question under 45 seconds, you win this awesome branded Bills Daytona Beach, City of Daytona Beach branded hat. Okay, this is the real deal. We got people DMing us. They're messaging us for these things, okay? This is a limited edition.
Let's do it. Set the clock. Let's do it.
All right, 45 seconds. No pressure, okay? All right, let me get my stopwatch ready. All right, and we're ready to go. Who wins in a showdown, a street sweeper or a garbage truck?
Who wins the showdown?
Yeah.
Oh, street sweeper all day.
All day? All right, I like it. Especially ours,
Slow
right?
and steady.
Okay, would you rather repave a road in the middle of the summer or clean Main Street after bike week at 3 a.m.?
Let's do bike week at 3 a.m. Lots of surprises.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get in store. All right, what's your go-to public works snack?
Oh, man. Potato chips.
All right, okay. If you had $1 go into a project account every time someone asked, when are you repaving my street, how many projects would you be able to fund?
All of them.
There would be no issue.
No issue.
Okay, that's fair. All right, Gator football to go over or under 500 this season?
Oh, over. Always over.
All right. There we go.
We make it?
Yes, we did.
All right, I get a hat.
Awesome. Very good. It went a little over 45, but I'm giving it because I was responding to your responses. I should have kept it going. So I know it's fair. So I'm gonna let you have it. You earned it. Okay.
Very good.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna hold you to that last question though. Okay. We're gonna see if those Gators go over 500.
All right.
I know Susan's gonna kill me for saying that, but oh well. So what are some of the roles and responsibilities for not just Public Works Director, but our Public Works Department overall?
Like what are we overall? What are we responsible
Yeah.
for? We've got a half dozen different divisions. We do. Obviously, we talked a little bit about it. Roadway maintenance. We do facility maintenance, including all of our parks and fire stations, police stations, and whatnot. They do solid waste. We do street sweeping. We do all of our construction, new construction, heavy engineering services. I do feel like I've left somebody out.
Hey, you don't want to leave anybody out, okay?
We're taking on fleet coming in October. We're going to bring that into our fold, and so we're generally speaking maintenance and construction. So if the city owns it, we maintain it and we build it. If it's something new or a heavy renovation.
What do you think's harder to do, or what takes more energy, maintaining an existing building or existing property, or building something from scratch?
Maintenance. Maintenance is what we spend the vast majority of our time doing. Couple reasons that's more intensive time-wise is the long-term maintenance is the time-consuming and expensive item that's not fun and it's not real sexy to fund. So everybody likes to cut ribbons on something new and shiny, but the long-term maintenance is really where we strive to be successful.
And I'm assuming beachside probably takes up a lot of that energy with the being on the on the beach with the salt. And
we rust here like I've never seen.
Yeah.
So our coastal environment, and the coastal environment moves very far inland. Even here at City Hall, we have corrosion issues that you wouldn't expect in Central Florida, more center of the state.
What are some current projects that you guys are working on right now?
Current construction projects, some of our bigger stuff. We're working on Fire Station 1, a replacement of the historic station downtown. We're building a new modern station up on Ridgewood Avenue. It's a pretty neat project for the city and for the fire department. The Fire Station 1 was built with to house horse and buggies. And the new modern fire service has some needs that just honestly doesn't meet anymore. So a nice new station under construction that'll be done in the spring. And then we're working on some big improvements at Jackie Robinson Ballpark to usher in and ensure baseball for a long time. The current project phase is under construction is a player development building that meets all the Major League Baseball standards that'll ensure that the Tortugas can stay affiliated with the Reds, which is important to keep the baseball here.
Right, and both of those projects are they impact the community. Obviously with our first responders having a facility that's up to standards, and then when you talk about entertainment. I mean, the Tortugas, their season goes, I believe, from like March or April all the way. It just finished this past week or this week.
Last weekend.
Yeah. So when you talk, I mean, that's a long season of entertainment or a long period of time of entertainment for something for our residents to do. I mean, and it's a historic site too as well. So I know both those projects are big, and you can't miss Fire Station 1 when you drive down Ridgewood. I mean, you definitely. I mean, with it being under construction, you definitely see because of you see the construction fence and all that, so it kind of catches your eye. But I know when that thing's finished, like you're not going to need a GPS to figure out if you've turned into the parking lot at Fire Station 1. So it's going to be a beautiful building for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one, and the Jackie building also includes a nice community room that'll be used outside of baseball. Has a museum to celebrate the history of the Jack, and a really great new entryway and improved parking on the east side, which is the busiest gate, and we expect it to continue to be the busiest gate.
It is, yeah. I know that from experience just going to their games, and it's pretty cool. The stadium itself is so unique with it being on the water. I mean, that backdrop, like if you're up to bat, and I mean obviously when you're sitting in the stands behind home plate and you see that backdrop of the water, the hotels, you have the ISB bridge going over the water. It's so unique. Not every stadium. I mean, there's some nice stadiums out there in Florida, but sometimes it's like stuck in the middle of the woods. You don't really have a good scenery. So it's also a special location. I feel like too.
It is very special. Yeah, the views are spectacular. I particularly enjoy it at night when the bridge is lit up and you see the the Vomitron and all that lit up on Beachside. It's really pretty, and the breeze is coming across. Here make it way more pleasant in the summertime than it would be elsewhere.
Right. Yeah. So I'm assuming with public works, not everything's rainbow and sunshines. There's got to be some challenges, some obstacles you guys deal with. What are some of the most common or main challenges that you guys face as a department?
Well, I think a challenge for the department, is resources. A couple different variations on resources, I guess. One is, of course, just financial. With the cost of us doing business is increasing constantly. I mean, you see it at home. We just see it on a bigger scale, and we're competing with other priorities of the city that we share funding sources with. Public safety is being a big one. Both are very important, and then available folks to do work.
Well, that's why we need $1 for every time someone asks when their street's going to get repaved into our account.
That's right.
I mean, there we go.
I'm going to set a jar out this afternoon.
Like a piggy bank, okay.
Yeah, but we struggle to recruit and retain skilled tradesmen. Our contractors struggle with the same thing. Getting professional landscape professionals and facility maintenance folks and concrete finishers. There's a limited supply, and the demand is high in our area for those skills, and we have trouble at times getting folks to work for us and for our contractors. And so, the needs are big, and we continue to strive to try to find the right folks to do it and do a quality job.
But you guys always find a way to get the job done. So that's the name of the game, though. I mean, you guys always find a way. I feel like, especially with the major projects, like. Obviously, I know we're wrapping up the Main Street Arch. That was a project that, took over a year. There's a lot of people involved. When we first were made aware of it, and I believe Paul Culver was overseeing that, right? I didn't realize how many subcontractors were going to be involved too. So there was a lot of moving parts, and I'm sure that can also impact the process of a project too. So. I get it, but you look at you guys found a way to get it done, even through hurricanes and different storms, and I know they had to put up barricades, I believe, on the east end of the bridge because or the east end of the entry because of the tide. So, but they found a way to get it done, and look at it now.
Yeah, it's
a beautiful piece.
Really. Yeah, we did our final walk with that on earlier this week, and we're gonna have a ribbon cutting on the 5th, I believe. Yeah,
I believe it's the 3rd. I think it's the 3rd.
It's a Friday, whatever that Friday is. Yeah, so pretty neat.
That's gonna be awesome. And I know that's something that the public's been waiting. And it's not so much that you can walk over it. I think it's the history. It's the piece of history that's a part of Daytona Beach that's what resonates with the residents. And I think seeing us, not just tearing something down but restoring it, I think that's what really makes that project special.
That particular structure and we've been, since I've been here, we did a full restoration of the band shell and the clock tower as well. And I think those structures on our beach side are really an important part of our identity and nice part of history of when there was significant investment on beachside, and really has led to what is part of why we're the world's most famous.
Right. And so you talked about some of the challenges. Now, what is it that makes it worthwhile being part of our public works team?
I think public works, as we said, is one of those when things are going well, nobody knows you're around type of organizations. But the things that are rewarding for us as a team is when we have projects that become a big part of fabric of your community. So whether they're new projects or renovations, like we've done at take projects like Daisy Stocking or the outside work we did at Dickerson Center, and create these community gathering places that become something that the community neighborhood is proud of, that they can gather at, and that when you live in an area, if or you see a listing for a home and you see walking distance to, and you name one of our facilities, we're like, we're setting the standard and creating that community kind of pride, and I think probably told you dozens of times, I strongly believe that great communities have great public spaces, and being a part of making those public spaces that the community can thrive around.
It matters for the residents, because I mean, you want to live in a place where you don't feel like you have to stay inside your house, or you have to drive 30, 45 minutes to go to a nice park or a nice community space. When you have it in your backyard, that matters, I feel like, for our residents. And you see the transformation of some of these places, like you mentioned, Daisy Stocking Park, that's in the heart of Midtown, Dickerson recreation complex that's surrounded by neighborhoods, and so you see the transformation, and you see the impact that it has. When I drive down Orange Avenue to go home, you see kids playing on the playgrounds, and you see kids playing at the basketball court at Dickerson. So it matters. Yeah.
Those are the projects that are rewarding, and then you have those moments of reward. I mean, you repave a street, and now it's better. You have that moment that you can be proud of, or you finish even a service, you mow a facility, or you do some landscape project, and you look back and you have that moment. You're like, yeah, that's better.
I feel like I'm getting old, because now that I own a home, I bought a home with my wife in February, and my job when I was a kid growing up was mowing the lawn. But from when I went to college to now, it's over 10 years, I didn't own a home, so I wasn't mowing the lawn. But now that I own a home and I do the landscaping at the house, I appreciate the landscaping around town now. I notice it. Like, I noticed the ISB landscaping that's been going on. Like, man, and Beach Street, the medians, how the landscaping's there, and I appreciate when I see, like, the grass with a nice edge, and it's cut, and I'm like, okay, I like it. I notice it now, and so that stuff for me. One, I notice it, and two, I appreciate it. I like it. I mean, it looks good, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? It gives me ideas to what I can do at my house. So I think that stuff is satisfying. Seeing the lawn maintenance.
Need a job?
We can discuss that off air, but no, I'm kidding. No, but I do. I appreciate all the landscape. I noticed it. I think it was like 2 days ago. I was at Sunnyland. I had to take photos of the press box tower that's going on. And even the parking lot there, looking at the landscaping there, and I noticed some of the plants that are there, some of the ones I have in my house. But then there's some that I don't have, and I'm like, that might look good in my front yard.
Probably would.
So it gives me ideas too. So I definitely, I appreciate. I'm sure it's got to be rewarding for your team too, seeing the transformation.
It is. We've had some really great projects in the last several years. Sunnyland's a great example of a facility that I think is becoming a spot that can be a gathering spot that there's activities.
It's not just a building anymore.
Right.
You guys have done a lot actually there now. I think about it, with the parking lot, the basketball court resurface, and the playground equipment. And then now you have the press box tower too for the softball field. So yeah, there's a lot of work.
I think that one's turning into a really great community park.
For sure. What are some of the favorite projects in your career? It doesn't even have to be Daytona Beach specifically, but what are some of the favorite projects that you've been a part of?
Well, I would say projects. I think some of those historic structures that we've done here are super exciting. The Band Shell Clock Tower, we mentioned those. I'm looking forward to some of our upcoming projects as being maybe some of those really iconic, satisfying projects. But I can tell you, in addition to that, maybe one of the things that we also kind of we say we enjoy and my least favorite and favorite, and we go down that road for a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
Why not? The Public Works Department we're a big part of recovering our community after a storm, and so obviously for us personally, it impacts us at home and as an organization who's strives for maintenance. They're devastating for us personally at work too. That all the work we've put into something is has been damaged, and but on the flip side, watching our team come together and help a community get recovered back to normal, back to where they can get back to work, go back to school,
back to as normal as they can get to,
to the new normal, because it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding and makes me proud of our team when we can watch them shift from filling potholes, mowing, emptying trash cans, to truly a recovery program that can quickly bring your community back to functionality and back to some sense of normal. And the quicker we get folks back to school, back to work, the roads open, and restore trash service and these things that you expect to happen on a normal basis, I think is a really important thing that we do. And we hope to never do it again. Every year we get into this season and we say, hey, not going to have any this year. And usually we're lucky. Usually we don't. But it just takes one. And and so I think those are very rewarding periods of time for an organization, and it's nice to see when it does happen, and of course we hope it doesn't.
What I'm sure maybe you can't give me a specific time, but how long does it typically take from once a storm finishes to when we are back to our new normal? Like, how long does that process take when it comes to the recovery efforts?
I would say that there's stages and phases in getting back to what we would call a kind of a normal. And the storms that we've had while I've been in Daytona Beach, they've all been tropical storm, Hurricane 1-ish, so they're not catastrophic. But getting to a point where we can open facilities again, and power is on,
provide
roads are open, provide
too,
services. We try to get that done within the goal. Typically, we get that within the first week. We've established trash service again, and people are back to working. But the collection of debris that usually takes up to sometimes as long as 6 months, because it continues to come out from people's backyards as they get time to do their part. And then it takes us sometimes it's a couple years to get all of our repair work done. We're still working on some Milton repairs now, down on the waterfront, docks and boardwalks.
That's true. We have the day docks.
The day docks, and we're
boardwalk
still working
stairs
on the underpass of ISB. The stairs and ramps at the beach they're actively being repaired now, but some of that stuff is complicated from a permitting and engineering perspective, and you pick off the easy, quick ones first, and then you drill down on the more complicated ones. Our staff level doesn't change after an event like that, so we have to continue with our regular work too.
I think too, and I've tried to explain it before to people who've asked me that it's not as simple as going out to Home Depot, getting some plywood, a hammer, a drill, and doing the work. I mean, it is what it is. There is permits that like you said, you have to go to. There's multiple agencies that are being involved in the boardwalk stairs, right? I mean,
Tremendous.
It's not just us saying, okay, you have to go ahead to build those stairs.
We have state and federal permits for those because of their impact
turtles
to
to
the ocean. Yeah.
I try to think, because sometimes it's black and white. My dad, he always gives me a hard time about it because they live on beachside and he walks the beach every day, and he's like, what's going on with the stairs? The same thing with the arch. And I'm like, well, listen, it's not as simple as you think it is. I promise. Okay, I know. I'm not using this as a cop out. Okay, there's a lot of people who are involved. He owns a pizza restaurant, and I've said to him, like, okay, you have a pizza, right? Imagine if you had to go get permission to put the pepperoni on the pizza, then you had to go to someone else to get the permission to put the mushrooms. It would take a long time to get that pizza made, right? It's not as simple as you think. So, but it is underway, like you said, it's actively being restored. So it's a huge deal.
Ramps, the ramps are going to be the first thing that we get open. We think that'll help with the access as quick as possible, and then the stairs we're working through. They all work together, but the ramps are currently the priority.
So I got a question too. What is one job site story that you will never forget? Is there one off the top of your head that's like, man, this is the flagship job site story?
I don't know if I have a flagship story. I can tell you ones that impact you probably the most. Our traffic department here does, and in my previous employer, I was the person who did this. When you respond to vehicle accidents and their fatalities, a lot of reflection happens and realize how important some of the things we do to ensure safety is, and just, you know, and some of the facilities we maintain, whether they're crosswalks or traffic signals, and what a big role they play in ensuring people are safe, because nobody should have to deal with a family member like that.
Yeah, that's I can't even imagine, especially like you said, when it comes to fatalities during car accidents, you don't know what you're going to see, you know, when you come onto the scene. So
and they're always avoidable. I mean, that's the part that's hard, and usually there's driver error, you know, and you just wish it was something we could, you know, when we design and work on our roadway projects, you know, we strive through a lot of the engineering standards to try to minimize the opportunity for the error, and sometimes, you know,
unfortunately though, when there's a human involved in whatever the case is,
you can't stop it all.
There's human error, so I definitely get that. What is some new technology that's coming to our parks and our public works department?
You know, there's a lot of technology. You know, particularly maybe in like our traffic systems, our signals, and our traffic management is becoming way more automated than it used to be. You know, a lot of cars are relying on our markings and signage to you know, is quasi self-driving type of activities. I mean, you know, it puts a little extra highlight on a lot of things we do in our traffic section, and how we get people to come and use our facilities is really becoming more. We used to put a paper sign up at City Hall, right? Come to the rec center or whatever. So
the digital signs that you guys have helped install.
We've got a few in town now that
centers,
I think are a great way to get our word out. We got one at Dickerson and one at Cherry Center, and we've got the one out at the stadium, and we'd like to do a few more.
And it helps with emergency messaging too. You know, when we have, you know, a storm coming into town, we have sandbags going on. We can, you know, put the signs on there that we have, you know, or to help people sign up for alerts. You know, we can put a graphic up on there too, so when everyone's driving, you know, they can, well, not when they're driving, but when they're stopped at the stoplight, you know, they can see it. You know, I don't want to encourage people being distracted drivers. We just talked about the negative of that. So,
that's right.
But those are nice features that we've added to two of our centers.
True. Very nice. Yeah.
Any upcoming projects? You said there's some that you're excited about. What are some of those upcoming projects?
Well, we've got, you know, we just last year wrapped up the Parks and Rec Master Plan, which set some priorities for future capital projects to help provide facilities for parks to improve their programming. The two that we're working on currently that I think will be super neat. One is full reconstruction of Derbyshire Park. Derbyshire Park is our busiest facility, and it is
dead
definitely
smack in the middle of the neighborhood too.
Smack in the middle of the neighborhood, and we're really looking forward to taking that piece of property and merging it together with a beautiful YSG center and create a destination facility.
Like sidewalk connectivity between both the park and the center.
So users of YSG and Derbyshire, it'll all be one facility, functionally, and improve the facility for the existing users. A lot of basketball, football, tennis players already there. But really improve those facilities, and then create a facility that's a destination and gathering place for all of the neighbors who are in the Derbyshire area. The 2 apartment complexes right next door, lots of single family that are in walking distance, and really looking forward to creating a space that is the hub of activity for the greater Derbyshire area. And
there's a lot of activity there. There's like 12 basketball courts, something around there.
There's, I think, 6 basketballs.
Oh, I thought there was more than 6.
There may be.
I think, I used to practice there, so I just
lots of basketball. There's a good amount of tennis.
There's like 4 tennis courts or something like that.
3-ish football fields now that we can't get enough play time on. I mean, they play.
I know it's a struggle for the Parks and Rec department.
It's a struggle for them.
Yeah.
And wanting to be able to increase the amount of play time there is for those activities, and then some other activities for folks who are not the sports player. And we're also going to look at the YSG Center to make sure that it's as functional as it can be to see if there's something that center, along with our other centers, struggles with large event space. They end up using the gymnasium for larger gatherings and takes away the basketball opportunity. So there may be an opportunity at YSG to add some larger gathering space there to ensure the gym stays more accessible more often.
Okay, very cool, very cool. What are some of the future goals that you have for the Public Works Department?
My dream from Public Works really would be to get and we've had some successes since I've been here, and we're going to continue to build on this reoccurring maintenance, to fund maintenance as a reoccurring need. So we 4 years ago have achieved that with our resurfacing program. We get an annual budget that is anticipated for resurfacing to put us on a 5% road surface per year, 20-year cycle, so that our roadways don't deteriorate and we continue to improve that driving surface. Included in that is a lot of sidewalk work. About 25% of those funds go to sidewalk repair.
Derbyshire's been having a lot of sidewalk,
a lot of new
activity.
Sidewalk in Derbyshire, and want to, if we could set that sort of long-range maintenance planning for our other things that we take care of, air conditioners, and I mean, it's, the unfun stuff, right? Air conditioners and roofs.
It matters, though.
It does,
Yeah.
and then, but even like playgrounds have a life cycle, and other things have life cycles, and if we can build those life cycles into a long-range budget, so we're not surprised by unexpected expenses, and then we can be a little more proactive with maintenance. Long term, it's cheaper to be proactive and not have emergency repairs. And we're off to a good start. Our commission and city manager have been very supportive of the goal, and we're working it into the budget as we can. We're off to a good start. I think it'll take quite a while to do so, but we've got a good resurfacing, and sidewalks is pretty well funded now, and we've got a good start with our roofs and air conditioners, and we've got other things, fleet's another big one, to get a reoccurring flat cost so we don't have the peaks and valleys with maintaining our city fleet.
So when you mentioned the road repaving, I've noticed that, not just one because I work in our communications office, but as a resident, I've noticed the road repaving when I'm driving throughout the city. What determines which roads that we maintain, which roads get resurfaced?
Who goes first?
Yeah, like are you guys, do you guys have a hat and you're just drawing, I'm assuming not, obviously, so I'm curious.
We don't. Well, I have a hat now.
Yeah, you do.
But I'm not going to use it for that. We rate every block of we call segments, so every street to street. We rate every roadway segment in a PCI, pavement and condition index, PCI. And we put them on a scale 1 to 10, and 10 being good and 1 being a dirt road, basically. Right. And we work our way through that list to clean up the ones that are rated the lowest. And it's not we don't work straight down the list, because grouping them makes a lot of financial sense. So we group a group of roads in a neighborhood or an area that are low PCI scored, and we kind of check off those lists, and we move around town to share the love. Most of the I would say, east of Nova has been priority coming out the gate for the first 4 years, because those are older parts of town that have the roads that were in worse shape. As the program gets a little more mature, you'll see more work out west. We've done some in LPGA the last couple of years. That subdivision. Yeah,
I noticed. What was it? Champions Drive. I think just got it a few months ago. Yeah.
Yep. So the goal is to keep the PCI rating as high as possible, and check off the ones that are at the bottom, and not let roadways have kind of a drop-off period. They decline for a while, and then they fall, and you got to catch them before they fall, or the cost to resurface goes up dramatically. It's about 3 times the cost. So.
Wow. Is there anything else you would want to add to the podcast?
No, this has been fun.
All right, I've been having a great time. So I appreciate you coming on today.
You bet. Glad I was here.
Yeah, I
Glad
know.
I got my hat.
It's not the easiest coming in doing this after a commission meeting. So.
Yeah, we had a good meeting last night.
Yeah.
Passed the budget.
Congratulations!
Happy for that.
Yes. Now we don't have to get $1 for every time someone asks us when our road's
going to. Still gonna put my jar up, man.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, again, thanks for joining the podcast today.
You bet. Appreciate it.
So that's all we have today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and the city's website at daytonabeach.gov/DB Unscripted. If you want to stay up to date with everything going on with the city of Daytona Beach, including our awesome public works department, please be sure to follow us on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Neighbors is the new one that we're on, which is on the Ring app. So you can stay up to date with everything going on, including our public works. And even in our newsletters, we have a dedicated section. Page 3 of our newsletter has everything going on with our technical services division and the public works department, which oversees a lot of our projects. So you can stay up to date with all those projects as well. But again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you for the next episode. See ya.